Greetings, salutations, respect, and love. I am Scott. Oh, my friends, I've got a big one for you today. Welcome to the Sunday Live Show, the longest running weekly live prog show on YouTube. Can you believe it, Nathan? Can you believe it?
It's amazing.
They said it wouldn't last. I remember when I was thinking about doing this, and no one thought this would last. No one thought this would work, but here we are. And now I have the luxury to do whatever I want on the show, have whomever I want on the show, whether it's the great Annie Haslam or doing full album reviews. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We have got the one, the only Matt Dolmaj from Versa on here. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's early. You're all the way out there in British Columbia.
Yeah. No, I've been up since 6:30 this morning. It's just 8 o'clock here now. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
And I figured we're talking about Versa, and none other than Nathan on Shuffle is joining us today. Nathan, I'm so happy you're here because you just did a fantastic review of the new album, A Voyage, A Destination Part 2. Good morning to you. You're in California or something, right?
Yeah, I'm over here in California. Same time. It's like
all these West Coasters,
yeah.
Man. I'm gonna have to remind you, set alarm clocks and stuff like that. So good morning. This is gonna be a lot of fun because I have been a big fan of your music, Matt. Ever since I first heard, obviously the first album, but it was late in 2022, so it was too late. I hadn't digested it enough. It did not make my top albums of the year. And honestly, not having a physical copy, a physical version of the album, I think probably hurt psychologically, not only with me, but probably other people. But we don't have that excuse anymore, do we, man? We got some exciting news. A Voyage, A Destination Part 2 is out. Not only that, but both versions are available on CD now. Matt, do you have the CD? Do you have the CDs? Let's see them, man. I'm going to make you big. I want to see this product.
So it's so we printed it, like we always intended to do this as a double album. And the original plan was that they were going to come out 6 months apart. And with the second one, as long as we got, reasonable feedback on the first one, we'd press the second one, which is here. As a physical copy. It took a little longer to finish this than my original plan. There was lots going on that sort of delayed it, but we still have done it as a double album. So there's A Voyage, A Destination with the lovely planet from the first album, and then
here we go.
There's A Voyage, A Destination Part 2. So it is. If you order it physical, you get the double album. You get both records or both CDs, just in the one package. So.
And this is how you kind of envisioned it to start with, right? I
was thinking of English Electric by Big Train. How they had those. They kind of recorded that whole thing together. They released one, they released the other, and then they released the full power edition, which is how I've always experienced the album. So this is the Voyage, A Destination round trip edition with both albums together.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love that analogy, and it works because there are some connective tissues between part 1 and part 2, but not as much as I maybe had anticipated. Talk me through, how much of the thematic, musically or lyrically, how much of part 1 you wanted to to bring into part 2. Was that something you thought about ahead of time, or you just let the songs do whatever they did?
No, I didn't think about it ahead of time because when we started, it wasn't clear to me that it was going to be a double album. We released our last studio album before this project in 2010. And we started working on a new studio album in 2014, and I went back to school, and our keyboard player went back to school, and our bassist was very involved in a tech startup, and so it kind of fell apart.
All right, let's do some shout outs to the people in your band, the primordial Versa, as well as the people. I'm real bad about that. I didn't write anybody's name down, and I'm counting on you to give these people some love because man, oh man, you've got some collaborators that make you look real good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if it was all me, it wouldn't sound nearly as good. So the core band we founded in 2007, and when we were all at university, and it's myself, Benjamin Rancourt on guitar, Anthony Theo Harris on bass, Jesse Bell joined in 2012 on drums, Janelle Rona on keyboards and some additional guitar, and then Hollis, of course. Can't forget Hollis on violin. Hollis Longton on violin. And that's been more or less the core band all the way along. The first two albums that we did, 10, 15 years ago, we got back together and started playing together during COVID, and wrote a couple of the songs that are on A Voyage Destination Part 1 and Part 2 around like 2020. That whole band is on A Voyage to Destination Part 1. And while we were working through Voyage to Destination Part 2, Ben and Anthony and Janelle all decided, we still want to do this, but we just don't have, they've got young families, they've got busy careers. So they've taken a step back. We're hoping that they will continue to be involved in some capacity in the future. We're all still really good friends. There's no like band drama breakup or anything. So Voyage to Destination 2 is mostly just me, Hollis, and Jesse. Jesse's a very good multi-instrumentalist, and so he did a lot of guitar and bass, and I sort of did the other guitar and bass, except the guests. And so on
yes. Well, let's not bury the lead, okay? Let's just be real honest. A whole bunch of us probably got interested early on. A Voyage, a Destination, Part 1. That's a proggy name. Look at that album cover. That looks cool. And then you look and you see, I don't know. Who were the guests on Part 1? Eric Gillette?
Yeah. Lars Frederick Foisley from Wobbler, Mariana Samkina from I Am the Morning, Jim Gray from Caligula's Horse, and Nick DiVirgilio from Spock's Beard and Big Big Train. Am I forgetting? I don't want to forget anybody. I don't think. Jeremy Tarda from Marching Mind.
Wow.
So
that's a pretty strong list. So when I saw that, I mean, I had to check this band out. And then the fact that the music was so strong, I'm like, why is no one talking about Versa? And then we get to, a little delay to get Part 2, but we have no less than, I don't know who's in Part 2.
So we got Ross Jennings from Haken. He's on the lead single, Flew the Coop. We have Jim's compatriot from Caligula's Horse, Sam Ballin, playing a whole bunch of guitar. He does most of the guitar on Artemis, not just the guitar solos. He does a lot of the rhythm guitar and stuff as well. We've got Kelly Nordstrom, who was actually my guitar teacher. Kelly from E-Molecule and Sound of Contact. He teaches here in Victoria at the conservatory. So he's on bass on Sound of Contact, on Artemis. He's from Sound of Contact. Eric Gillette pops up again, just doing some rhythm work on one of the songs. And Michael True from the Seattle band Moonletters, who are awesome. And Michael was such a big help. So we got some
Michael True, didn't he end up on a Samurai of Prague record or two?
Yeah, he was on the most recent Samurai of Prague, yeah.
And he's a regular viewer of this show. And little station ID here. Yes, Cody. I know it's been a while. But we are back to regular programming next week. We're going to have the full panel here. We're going to have the whole gang's going to be here. It's going to be me and Cody and Wayne and Ian from Rhyme Signatures is going to be here. Who knows? Maybe even we'll get Nathan on Shuffle back next week, and we will be doing top 10 Porcupine Tree songs. So it'll be old school Prog Corner Sunday live stream. But like I said, one of the things that I really, really love about having a YouTube channel that people actually are watching and caring about is that I get to get up on my soapbox and talk about artists that I really, really care about. And today's no exception. You talked about Ross from Haken. We got a music video from Flew the Coop. We're going to watch that in a little bit, but talk me through how you get a guy like Ross Jennings to show up on your album. That's not nothing, right? That's a big deal, man. I'm reading the comments on the YouTube video, and like everybody's like, I came here because of Ross. I came here because of Haken. It's like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, Ross shared the video when it came out, and a lot of people found it that way. We got several comments on the video saying, "Yeah, I found this from Haken," and
Yeah.
I mean, really, like people keep asking me, "How do you get all these people?" You ask them. You just ask them, and you say, "Hey, I've got this," and you send them some music, and you know, I like to try and make fairly polished demos that show, you know, what the music's going to sound like, and it's not just, you know, grubby lo-fi stuff. And you know, I assume they hear it and they go, "Yeah, you know, it sounds pretty good," and you pay them.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
to pay
Usually they
people.
want something,
Uh,
right?
yeah, and yeah, with Ross, we had corresponded a little bit by email, and then I was on Cruise to the Edge 2022, and we got to meet and hang out a little bit on Cruise to the Edge 2022, and I actually, I was so like Cruise to the Edge 2022 was unbelievable experience. It was the best week of my life. It was so much fun. It was so incredible to meet so many prog fans,
Were you
prog
on the boat
artists.
that year, Nathan?
Yeah.
No, my first one was this year, but
Oh, okay.
felt the same way. I
Yeah.
met Ross Jennings also on the boat, and
Yeah.
he was super nice.
And
He knew me
I
from my
actually,
channel, so I thought that was
I
cool.
wrote Artemis right after the cruise. Like we had bits and pieces kicking around. Hollis had a few bits and pieces kicking around, but I was so like blown away by that experience and discovering bands like Moon Safari and Life Signs that I hadn't listened to before. And just like, holy crap, this is unreal. I wrote that song in like 2 weeks after the cruise for Ross. And then I sent it to Ross and he was like, "This is really cool, but I'm recording Fauna. I'm recording DiVirgilio Morse Jennings. I've got a new Novena thing coming out. We've got Haken touring going." He's like, "I just can't do a 20-minute epic."
Yeah.
I was like, that's totally cool. What about, do you like this song? And I sent him Flew the Coop, which I was originally just going to sing myself. And he was like, "Yeah, no, I really like that song. I'm going to do that one for you." So, and then Michael stepped in and did, you know, an amazing job on the vocals on Artemis. So it ended up working out really well.
That's a, you know, that's a welcome addition to the album, because the two albums couldn't be structured really any differently. Whereas part one just feels like all epic-y, and there's a little 70s hangover. You got the big epic at the beginning, the big epic at the end, you know, a couple shorter pieces in the middle. This thing here is totally different, man. It's got all these short pieces, starting out a whole bunch of them without vocals, and then it just keeps building up, and then you get Ross, and then you got more of these shorter pieces, and then boom, Artemis. It's like, wow, this big chunky giant epic. It gives the album a whole different flavor, and it gives it a whole different experience as you're listening to it, and I dig it. I think it's really cool.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it.
I know Ian from Rhyme Signatures actually was saying how he thought it suited your music better, not doing you know, the long pieces, having shorter, more digestible tracks where you can get, you know, a whole lot of different panoramic views on the same album without worrying about, you know, linking material and stuff like that. I thought it was an interesting observation. But how do you approach it? Do you think about it like, oh, this is going to be a shorter piece, or, you know, this needs to be the epic? I mean, you say Artemis came about real quick, but did you know it was going to be an epic?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you had to, right?
So yeah, I mean, we basically, I had half an hour of music for the new for part two, well, you know, maybe it'll be an EP, maybe it'll just be a little extra thing, and I thought, no, I want to flesh it out, and so I ended up writing two more pieces. It was Destination and Artemis were the last two pieces written, and they closed the album out. You know, seeing Moon Safari, I thought, I really want to try doing something more vocal driven, because a lot of our music is instrumental, and even when there is vocal stuff, it's with the exception of a couple little bits in Pool of the Naiads, it's usually fairly stripped back vocal stuff. And I thought I want to try doing something with like much more complicated vocals, a lot more layers of harmony and things like that, and do something that's you know, don't go in going, oh, it's got to be 20 minutes long. I think, well, you know, I want to do a big prog piece. It could end up being 9 minutes, it could be 14 minutes, it could be 20 minutes, and it ended up being 18 minutes. So
I love it. You know, and there's nothing wrong with understanding what works and what doesn't work. And you know, I'm kind of parenthetically calling this half tongue in cheek, half clickbaity versus the future of prog. But I kind of, you know, it's a little hyperbolic perhaps, but, you know, I think there's a little bit of truth to it in that I am hearing so many different influences. so many different things that I don't normally hear in prog rock. You know what I'm talking about, Nathan? I'm hearing stuff going on in Matt's music that I don't normally associate with the kind of stuff I've been listening to lately, right? I don't hear a lot of bands with a strong symphonic element that clearly have heard a whole bunch of Godspeed You Black Emperor. For example, I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's why I love it too. It's very unique, different than anything else in prog. That really unique post-rock element that comes through really strongly. It's almost like an equal, the post-rock and prog rock kind of combining in a unique way that not a lot of bands do. So yeah, that's
I'm even hearing like Elephant Six influences. Are you down with any of that type of stuff?
Actually, yeah. No, I don't know that band.
Well, it's like a collective, like a Neutral Milk Hotel and Elf Power and Apples and Stereo. They were all this whole group of bands that had this real kind of strange approach to music with the acoustic guitars and maybe a trumpet or a violin going. And I'm hearing like the middle section of Flew the Coop, and I'm thinking Elf Power, and I'm just wondering if you were aware of any of those bands at all.
I mean, I know Neutral Milk Hotel. I'm not. I recognize the names of the other bands, but I'm not really.
But that was the big one of Olivia Tremor Control, I guess, another one from that group. But I'm also hearing a bunch of Canadian bands too, and I told you that before when we were talking. I'm hearing all kinds of the Canadian bands, like the Broken Social Scenes and the Arcade Fires, and it's just so much fun to listen to.
Yeah,
that I kind of wanted
to. A big influence on us. They're awesome.
Yeah. Amazing band, but I kind of wanted to just kind of get a list of what bands or albums influenced you as you were coming up early in your musical development. I don't know if it's going to help anybody, but I like hearing this kind of stuff. So I asked you ahead of time so I wouldn't ambush you. Like I ambushed poor Neil Morris with my outro the other day. I don't know how cool that was, but so I did ask you ahead of time. So what were some of the things that got you going early on that made you interested in music?
Yeah, well, I mean, just sort of speaking generally about the influences and stuff. When we started, we were mostly straight instrumental post rock, but we all love prog and we all love indie rock, and it was always the intention to try and bring those influences into post rock, or to bring post rock and indie rock influences into prog. And it's just been trying to find the balance over the course of our albums. If you listen chronologically, you hear us kind of pushing more indie or more prog direction from that post rock beginning. But that was always for all of us in the band, music that we loved, and we thought there was intersections there that would be interesting to explore, and that's kind of always what we wanted to do with our music. So for me, Jethro Tull, huge influence early on. My dad is a big Jethro Tull fan. He doesn't listen to a lot of music anymore, but when he was younger, he was a big Jethro Tull fan, and he had the
what happened?
Most
people my age don't listen to much music anymore.
Well, he's older than you, but he had the the lovely double LP of Living in the Past with the photo book and everything, and he was always pushing me to listen. Because I played flute in the school band and things like that. You got to listen to Jethro Tull. Jethro Tull's got flute in it, and I listened and I go, yeah, this is pretty good. I like this. And then moved away to university, and at that time, vinyl was completely out of fashion. And if you were a poor university student who was really into music, you wanted to listen to a lot of music, go down to the record store and buy vinyl, because it was like $3 a record, right?
Yeah.
So I picked up MU, the Best of Jethro Tull, the 1976 compilation, and side 2 of that record starts with Skating Away on the Thin Ice of the New Day. And I heard that song, and I heard a little ELP before that, and maybe a little Yes, but I heard that song and I just went, my whole world has changed. This is the best song I've ever heard in my entire life. and got super into Jethro Tull. And they had such an influence on me, and sort of, well, I can play flute in a rock music context. I want to pick up guitar and start learning guitar, because I hadn't played guitar at that point.
Hey man, Jethro Tull had a similar influence on me. I mean, in 1975, I think, was the first time I heard Thick as a Brick, and It changed everything, man. You probably had a moment or two with Jethro Tull too, right, Nathan?
Oh yeah, and I had an early like greatest hits collection. That's kind of how I
The MU one was great.
got into them. Yeah, and my dad liked Thick as a Brick, so he showed me that record. So and got me Songs from the Wood, I think, as a present or something down the line. So
does your dad listen to much music anymore, Nathan?
Not too much. I mean, I try to introduce him to new stuff whenever I think he'll like it, but he mostly listens to like his old favorites, Yes and Genesis, and some like Beatles and Steely Dan and stuff like that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and then also, you know, when I was younger, the big band for me when I was in high school was Bare Naked Ladies. Huge Bare Naked Ladies fan. Still a big Bare Naked Ladies fan. I kind of lost them for a little while after Stephen Page left the band, but they had an album a couple of years ago called Detour de Force that had a lot of really interesting, really good songs on it, and that kind of got me back. I was like, oh right, I do love this band. I do want to listen to this band. They are still making great music.
Yeah, my wife is a huge fan, and she too fell completely off the Bare Naked Ladies bandwagon when Stephen was no longer in the band. But you know, maybe I should listen to some of the more current ones because I have not heard any of the newer ones.
Fake Nudes or Detour de Force are the best of the new ones, I think.
Yep. Okay.
And like their new stuff, they've always got a couple of these just cringy kind of we're chasing TikTok, like, you know, awful pop songs. And then you get past those couple of songs and the rest of the album is great. They, you know, I think they really, for me, their approach to melody, you know, those Bare Naked Ladies songs, especially their early stuff, the songs have such good, strong melodies. And that's always what I've loved about, you know, the best prog, like whether it's like Genesis or Neil Morse or Jethro Tull, it's like you get these strong choruses that you could find in like a pop song, but it's put into this different context.
And Gordon's a masterpiece. So preaching to the choir.
Yeah. Maybe You Should Drive is my two favorite albums are Minstrel in the Gallery and Maybe You Should Drive. So
wow. Okay.
Yeah. So Bare Naked Ladies, and then you know, I was right the right age for hey, Victoria's pretty dry. Victoria's the driest place on the coast.
Are you in Vancouver or Victoria? Where are you?
Victoria. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're in the shadow of the Olympic Mountains, so we get about half the rainfall that Vancouver does.
Okay. Yeah, you're on the island.
Yeah. Yeah, which is
island boy.
Wonderful. Sorry?
You're an island boy.
Yeah, island boy. Yeah. It's great for everything except touring because you have to get on a ferry to go anywhere. So it's very expensive to try and play elsewhere. Yeah. But I was just sort of, you know, I was like 22 years old when the sort of the Pitchfork new indie scene, you know, the Arcade Fires and Sufjan Stevens and Grizzly Bear, like all those bands really broke big. And so I was really into that music. And of those bands, you know, Sufjan Stevens is such an incredible songwriter and has such a great ear for arranging pieces, and you know, just going wherever his muse takes him, and he'll just do, you know, he'll do this intimate folk album, and then he'll do this big sprawling, you know, with elements of prog and elements of like contemporary classical, like Steve Reich stuff, and then he'll do an electronic album, and again has that, you know, writes so many melodies that just stick in your brain.
Yeah, man. You're preaching to the choir here yet again, man. Illinois, Michigan, Seven Swans, even the Avalanche was pure genius. Age of Odds. Just I like his new stuff too, but that era of Sufjan, right at the same time that Pitchfork was like the absolute tastemaker. Pitchfork gave you a 10, you know. You were cooking with gas. You were in business, and it was something to perceive, something to see Sufjan's genius explode onto the scene. Incredible, and it's prog.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of prog elements in especially the State albums, and Age of Odds. You know, Age of Odds closes with a 20-minute epic. Like, you know, that's as prog as it gets.
Yeah.
And then the post-rock scene at that time, you know, the early 2000s as well. Sigur Rós, Mogwai, Godspeed You Black Emperor, you know, those three bands, you know, and I listen to a lot of other post rock bands who I love. Do Makes They Think, Explosions in the Sky,
Oh,
but
yeah.
those three, Mogwai, Godspeed, and Sigur Rós, were just, you know, it's like, didn't know you could do music like that until I heard those bands. And that's, you know, I never, when I was younger, I didn't really think about making prog music, because I just didn't have the patience.
Yeah.
You know, the patience to practice and the patience to, you know, it takes a long time to write a song with a lot of notes, because
Yeah.
you got to figure out, you know, where are all these notes going. And you sort of post rock it has a lot of the elements of what I love in prog. You can take as long as you want to develop your ideas. You know, you can have these big emotional arcs over longer periods of time. You can do short little things, but it's a lot less technically demanding. And so
Yeah.
that when I heard post rock and I was like, this has all the things I love about prog, but I can actually play it at this point in my life, and I can actually write it at this point in my life. And so that's when I kind of went, I want to make this. I don't just want to listen to it. I don't just want to be a fan. I want to make this kind of music. And started writing more music at that. I'd always written a little bit of stuff here and there, but it was sort of discovering those, you know, Sigur Rós, Godspeed, Mogwai. And I went, I want to actually practice my guitar a little bit so I can play this stuff, because that seems within reach. You know, trying to learn King Crimson on guitar, I'm never going to learn to do that.
You know, that's the thing about it. It's been done, man. You know,
yeah,
it's been done before. Robert Fripp's going to do it better than you could do it, no matter what. So the whole idea of having to be, you know, a virtuoso to play interesting progressive music. I am so glad that there were bands like Godspeed and Mogwai and Explosions, you know, just taking that whole idea and saying, no, you know what? All you really need is a good one of these and an Ebo. And you're good to go, man.
Or a screwdriver.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of the genesis of Versa. But then, you know, we do have a virtuoso player in our band who can play anything. I mean, Hollis is unbelievable. Like, he is a genuine world-class talent. He's phenomenal. And so if we do want to write, you know, really complicated things, and I go, I can never get my fingers around this. Here you go, Hollis.
You got somebody in the band who can handle it.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, from there, at Genesis, of course, you know, I don't think anybody making progressive music doesn't cite Genesis or King Crimson. And when I listened to Lark's Tongues and Aspic, I discovered that album right around the same time I was listening to a lot of Mogwai, a lot of Godspeed. And I think I will go to the, you know, my dying day arguing that the first post-rock album is Lark's Tongues and Aspic. You know, though the Lark's Tongues Part 1 and Part 2, like Part 1 especially, that is a post-rock song.
Oh, Part 1 is 100% post-rock. Yeah.
And then you hear like Part 1 and Part 2, especially in Mogwai, like there's a really strong influence of that in Mogwai. And that's when I started thinking about, you know, listening to that. It was probably about the time we started Versa that I was listening to a lot of Lark's Tongues and listening to a lot of Mogwai, and thinking, why don't we just bring these two things together a little bit more. Like, they're obviously clearly related. There is something here that's going on in King Crimson and going on in Mogwai. I want to try and go down that path in between.
Yet somehow, some way, the love for Bare Naked Ladies and Sufjan Stevens provided you with a little bit more of perhaps a melodic content and bend to some of this stuff, because there's never, you know, even when you're at your most post-rocky, there's still a good, strong melodic thread through every single track. Every one of your songs always has, you know, a melody that you can, you know, take along with you, perhaps even become an earworm like a couple of these on the new album. A real big accomplishment. Hey, we've gone a half hour already, and you know what, man? I think we want to listen. We want to listen to a little bit of this new album. I think we want to play. We're going to play the Ross Jennings video, right, man? We're going to play this. It's called Flew the Coop, featuring Ross Jennings from Haken. So bear with me. Let's see if we can figure out how to play a video here. And let's see here. I want to go there. Where are we, Matt? Where is that?
Oh, this is just outside Squamish, about an hour north of Vancouver.
Felt it turn, and it's too late. Summer's fading. Gotta run, and the wind's in my hair.
Is that a banjo?
And the sense
No, it's pizzicato violin.
Oh, like pizzicato.
Yeah.
but the cold dark night is burning
I think 11 might be my favorite time in Prog. A good 11/8 section always does something. You sound like Cigar Ross there at all.
No, this section actually used to be just 6/8 straight like the rest of the song, and then when we were rearranging it for the album, I said, no, we got to make it more prog. Let's drop a
Way
beat.
better. That rhythm guitar would be very lame in straight six.
Yeah. So this is, I didn't credit him when we were talking about guests. This is our friend Colin McTaggart, who's a wonderful guitarist.
Okay.
Doing this guitar solo.
Take me back to the
So Ross is actually in my mother's basement in North Vancouver recording that.
gone astray, and we'll hold hands, cold dark nights.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I dig it. So how did that whole video come about, and who's the lead actress in that?
Yeah, so lead actress is my friend Lindsay. We went to high school together. I've known her for like 25 years at this point, just about. So, she's lovely and very photogenic, and also knows lives in Squamish and knows how to scout good locations. So
and I'm thinking that water must have been cold, man. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it was cool. It was late August, I think, that we filmed it, so
Okay.
it was still warm. But the water up in the mountains is pretty cold, no matter what time of year it is. So
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah,
that might work. Now, did you or did you not participate in the Neil Morse School?
I did.
That's something that you actually took part in. How'd that go down?
Oh, it was good. It was fun. It was interesting. It was how to record a progressive rock album. And obviously I've done that a couple times already. But you can always learn from somebody like Neil Morse. He's unbelievable. Both the quality and the quantity of music that he produces, it's just, I don't understand how a person can be capable of that.
Just when you write them off too, like I'm just about done with these Frontiers records, these Joseph records, and this, that, and the other thing. Just when you're ready to write them off, he puts out something like No Hill for a Climber. Have you heard all that yet, Nathan?
Oh, I've heard it. Yeah,
you got the advanced copy. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love it. It's right back to classic Neil Morse for me. Yeah.
He's back, boys and girls.
Yeah, that lead single, I heard that lead single and I went, well, this sounds pretty dang awesome. I'm definitely going to be listening to this.
And, and that song, like all good songs on good albums, really benefits from the context of what comes before it and what comes after. It sounds even better on the album, is what I'm trying to say. So good. We've got a whole bunch of inside out product on the horizon, Nathan. Are you going to be doing a Frost review? And then what we got? Beardfish and Neil Morse. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're all great albums. Yeah, I'm excited.
You're going to be doing reviews of all of them, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm going to be doing reviews of all of them. Thomas Bieber, we got a superstar right here on our hands. No reason in the world why Inside Out ought not be taking a little peeky poo, a little look-see adverse. I don't want to get into any conversations you may or may not be having. That's none of my business. I'm the hype man. I'm the pitch man. All I do.
Well, I'll just say that that would be the I think for any independent prog artist, Inside Out is the dream.
Sure, absolutely.
Those guys, they do such a good job of curating. They have so many amazing artists on their roster.
It's an incredible label, and I don't mean to embarrass you or anything like that. We're gonna walk, eventually, but first we're crawling, then we're gonna walk, then we're gonna run. I'm just excited. We've got the CDs out. Go to the Bandcamp page. Order the CD. It's got both part 1 and part 2 on a nice double CD package. Really cool because part 1 had never been available on CD, right? It was only available digitally.
Only digital.
So this is a big deal. And I'm here to tell you both parts 1 and part 2, just amazing. If you liked that little snippet, I love Ross. I absolutely love it. I love that song. But man, if you're a prog guy like me, that just is not even scratching the surface of what goes on these two albums. Just incredible, just amazing. So we're gonna sell a bunch of CDs first, right? We're gonna sell out of the CD, and and then we'll see what we'll do after that, right? One step at a time.
Yeah, a few people have asked about vinyl. I would really love to press vinyl. Vinyl is extremely expensive, and for where we're at, and the number of physical copies I sort of projecting selling, it just doesn't make financial sense to press vinyl. But if it does well, we didn't do digital, or we only did digital for the last album. It did fairly well. I thought it made sense to do physical copies now on CD. If CDs do well, and I can afford to press vinyl, I will get vinyl pressed.
Yeah, and that's how it should be. No artist should be forced into allocating so much money because it's a huge investment. Vinyl is just you got to basically press like 300 minimums to have any kind of financial sense at all. And that's a big number for any band. So yeah, we know the realities, and that's part of why I started the Prog Corner. I know that's part of why Nathan started Nathan on Shuffle, so that he could talk about bands that he cared about, newer bands as well as the older stuff too, right? We like to talk about the old bands,
Right.
but it's more fun talking to a guy like Matt than it would be digging up some dinosaur and some dinosaur band, right? I mean, this is exciting. This is potential. We have a chance to help a band like Versa, kind of get to the next level. And that excites me. That gets me up in the morning. That makes me want to keep doing the Prog Corner, because, just talking about an old dude like Ian Anderson or John Anderson or something, that's great, but they already got theirs, man. They got their, they got their fishing cabins on Scottish Isles and their mansions in, Southern California. They don't need me. They don't, Roger Waters and David Gilmour, they don't need me. So, I get really excited when a band like Versa comes up, and, I don't know about you, Nathan, but I feel like they're my band, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I have this personal attachment to them.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
And here's a question. We're gonna get this solved. This is true. I mean, we need to get you on the Prog Archives. That is true.
I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's all right. We got Myth of Logic, Scott from Myth of Logic. We got him set up there, so
Okay.
we'll get that going. It's actually pretty easy, I guess. There's some submission process and whatnot, so we'll take care of that. We need to get you onto that database because Prog people can sometimes be a little snobby, right? And we're snobs. I'm not gonna lie. Almost every single person I know that likes Prog has some kind of advanced musical brain. They understand it. They either played an instrument, or they were in a band, or their dad was in a band. Something was going on, firing in the neurons musically from a very early age. We're nerds. We're and that turns into snobbery really, really quick.
Yeah.
And if you're not on Prog Archives, people think, well, just how Prog could they be if they're not on Prog Archives? So yeah, we're going to take care of that. That's a good point. Thank you, Garden Jester. Definitely.
Before we move on, I just wanted to say how much I appreciate, and everybody in the band appreciates, you guys and the advocacy you do, not just for us, but for lots of other independent bands, smaller bands. Ian from Rhyme Signatures, he reviewed A Voyage of Destination day one. I don't know how he found it, but he found it and had a review out the day after it came out, and just blew us away with how supportive he was. Notes is amazing for discovering new bands.
We love them.
The four of you guys in particular have introduced me personally to so much music over the last couple of years, and I mean, it really means a lot. It's really inspiring. You get that kind of support, that kind of critical reaction, and it makes you want to go, yeah, I can do this. I should keep doing this.
Matt, I think back to, when I was actively doing music and pursuing, but that was way back, before there was even an internet. But I just think back, what if, back when I had my little band and I was doing my little music and stuff, what if there was this thing called YouTube, and there was this support network, and there were people that were willing to go out and, talk about your band and your music and stuff like that? How awesome that would have been. So it's something that I'm really excited to do now on on the other end.
I'm just going to give a shout out to another indie Canadian prog band who I love.
Hey, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Jana's got the right idea. How much did we pay for that one?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, you know what? I'm so happy to be talking to Matt from Versa, Nathan on Shuffle. Nathan, what do you got going on with your channel this week? Anything? You probably got a big Frost review coming up, right? We're gonna inundate the internet with Frost, because honestly, I don't know if you do this before you start doing a video. I always search a topic before I even think about doing a review. I always just punch it in, see how many videos are out. Nobody's talking about Frost.
Yeah. I've seen
Nobody.
reviews online, but not anything on YouTube for sure. So,
Nothing.
yeah.
It's like a desert. It's like a wasteland of frost material. Something tells me we're going to have a deluge. We're going to have a avalanche of frost material here coming up,
Yeah.
and rightly so, because the new album is incredible. But what else you got cooking?
Yeah, I have several reviews this week that I'm working on. So the Frost
Awesome.
one for sure will be coming out. Joe Dinninson, has
Oh, yeah.
the Stratofurious, that is coming out, which I think he's the violin player for Kansas now. So has a really cool album. And then
That's
oddly,
right. David Ragsdale retired. Joe is now the new violin player, the new fiddle player for Kansas, as we like to say around these here parts, and his band Stratofurious. Yeah, have you done your review already on that, Nathan? Because I just started listening to it this morning.
Yeah, I filmed it already, so it should be up this next week for sure.
Nice. What have you been listening to lately, Matt? Anything new? Anything exciting? Because honestly, the first time I heard Artemis, I'm like, yeah, he heard some Moon Safari.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, recently I took a trip to the record store last week to pick up the new Godspeed record, which I've really been enjoying, and I ended up buying just a bunch of new music that's not prog. Have a little prog break, listen to some other things. So I picked up the new Coldplay, which is pretty good. It has one song on it that I think is terrible, but the rest of the album's pretty good. And the new Jamie XX album, In Waves. The new Godspeed, and what was the other one? There was one more that I picked up.
Have you heard the Geordie Creep yet?
No.
That's a cool album.
I appreciate Black Midi more than I enjoy them. And
that's fair.
I felt the same way.
So I don't know. I'll probably check it out at some point. But,
and here's one that I'm going to lay on y'all that I may or may not get around to, because I'm so lazy with reviews that if I don't give them a shout out, at least I have it on my permanent record that the new one from The Smile cutout.
Oh, that was the other album I picked up. This was the new Smile.
Oh, that is so good. Oh,
yeah.
How do they
also
do
that
it?
Mirror album that's floating above Nathan's head. That's my
Wheels
album
Within
so
Wheels,
and that the song Come to Light is
Come to Light.
I just that's the best song I've heard in years. That song just absolutely floored me. It's incredible. So anybody who likes really melodic progressive rock with like indie sort of folk kind of elements, like that album's incredible. You got to listen.
And there are just certain tracks, right? You found the sweet spot. You found the exact perfect song on that album. Obviously, it's the Come to Light moment. That just has that buildup. It's just so absolutely perfect. And Moon Safari with their perfection of Teen Angel meets the Apocalypse. Clearly, we're seeing things similarly, and that's obviously why I've gravitated to your music, and my Versa has become so important to me in such a short period of time. People are asking, are you guys just a studio concoction, or is there going to be at some point some live dates for the great and powerful Versa?
Yes, for the first time in almost 8 years, we will be playing live. We're just playing a couple local shows. We're playing Lucky Bar here in Victoria, which is a great venue that we've played many, many times over the years. Cool. With another local prog band. We got a prog metal band in town here called Ghost Planet, and more of a sort of classic rock kind of laid back band called Loose Bones, who are really great. So that's happening on December 13th. And then in 2025, I'm just starting to put together a theater show, like a proper sit-down theater show. We're really hoping to get Moonletters over from Seattle for that. We'll likely do, if that happens, we'll likely do a sort of show exchange, and we'll get over to Seattle to play with Moonletters. So that'll be our first international show that we've ever played.
How sweet is that? The Puget Sound Prog explosion.
And then really, like, touring is probably never going to happen for Versa. Just partly a function of where we live, being on the island in Canada on the West Coast. Like, we have to go to, other than playing Victoria, Vancouver, and Seattle, it's 6 to 8 hours to get anywhere else. It's just not feasible at our level. When we were 24, you might pile into a van and do that, but like, we're all 40.
Yeah.
You know, a bunch of the band members have kids and jobs and things, and but I want to try and get us, you know, if this album's doing well, if the live shows go well, we get some good live footage. You know, I'd really like to try and get us on a few festival bills.
Yep.
And because we can justify traveling for that.
Right.
You know, like the ultimate dream would be to play Cruise to the Edge. Like it's such a blast. And you know, I would love to do that. But like if we could get back east to do Prog Stock, you know, something like that. I'd love to get something like that together. So that's sort of the long-term line.
All right. Well, you guys have heard it here. I mean, you never know who's watching the Prog Corner. Isn't that something about having a YouTube channel, Nathan? Like sometimes you just think you're talking to yourself, right? And it's happened a couple times where, especially on the live stream, where I'll say something about a band and either it's good or bad, and then like 10 seconds later, somebody from the band is commenting in the live chat. I'm like, oh man, I hope I didn't slam them too hard there. So you just never know. So we've got more power than we think we do. So yes, indeed, that's something that you know, if it's something you want to happen, Matt, we're going to make sure that does in fact happen. Because let's face it, I'm in love with your band. Nathan is, and we are the tastemakers in the modern prog era. That's just how it goes. Anyway. So next week on the show, I myself will be doing a big shocker. I'll be doing a Frost review. The new album is called Life in the Wires. It's absolutely amazing. And I've got a couple things cooking. I had, you know, people like, I'm sorry, you know, for me to do a review, let's be honest, I have to listen to the album like 10, 20 times, and then I got to think about it, and then I got to shoot the video. I got to do a thumbnail. I got to upload it. I got to do all these different things. You know what I'm talking about, Nathan? People think, oh, just, you know, do an episode about X, Y, or Z. By the time I'm done, I'm like 8 or 9 hours in. Right?
Yeah.
8 or 9 hours in. So you're sending me your little MP3 files or your link to your Bandcamp page, and you expect me to get all excited and do an album review. You got to be out of your damn mind. Okay? How much is 8 hours of your life worth? Think about it. Think it through. How much is 8 hours of your life worth? So when I get contacted by a band called Doom Gong, all right, and they send me their vinyl, and their label sends me another piece of vinyl. Check this out. I don't know who they are. They're called Doom Gong, so I'm already interested. This is called these guys are called the Moon Goons.
All right. Cool.
Look at this vinyl, Nathan. Look, splatter colored, all this kind of stuff. Look, that's cool. Not only are you going to get mentioned on the Prog Corner, you're getting an album review, man. You know what? Because if you don't believe enough in me, if you don't think that 8 hours of my time is worth something, then obviously I don't really care all that much about your music. Why should I? It's a crass world. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? I'm a shyster, man. I am a cheap whore. Whoring myself out for vinyl. But, you know, I'm sorry. It's kind of true, man. I'm sorry. I think my time is worth something. So I'm not just calling out people that are cheap. I'm calling out the people that are doing the right thing. Send your boy vinyl. I'm going to talk about your band. It's not that complicated, people. It really is not. So that's me on my high horse, getting all excited about something that really doesn't matter to anybody who doesn't have a YouTube channel. But that's how we do. Oh, man, this was a lot of fun, Nathan. Thank you for joining. Are you going to be here next week?
Yeah, I'll be here.
Oh, man, we got a big panel, Matt. Are you a porcupine tree guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I love Porcupine Tree.
Let me know. I think we should just load up. You know, I've got to be a premium StreamYard now. Thank you, Kevin, from Prog Radio, hooking me up. I can do like the Pete Pardo thing and have like 8,000 faces up on screen at one time. You know, I'm a poor guy. I couldn't afford that on my own. So thank you so much. So yeah, we're going to do the top 10 Porcupine Tree songs next Sunday. It's going to be me. It's going to be Nathan on shuffle.
Yes.
It's going to be Ian from Rhyme Signatures. It's going to be Wayne from Pocket Full of Heap. And we're going to have Cody from Brockway's Vinyl Bites. Who knows? We might even get Matt in. And I got a couple special guests too who want in. I got Pat close to the edge of Prog from Ireland. I don't know if you know that guy. He's awesome. And I think we got Morgan from School of Prog. I'm just going to load up, man. We're just going to geek out about Porcupine Tree. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, guys, any final words, Matt? Why should people run out and buy your CD?
Well, I think you've done a pretty good job of selling it over the last hour. So thank you very much for that.
It's amazing. It's both so good. I love it.
We put a lot of work into it. I am really happy with how it turned out. It's been this whole project. It started when I emailed Nick DiVirgilio during COVID. And I said, Nick, you don't seem to be doing anything. You're posting on social media a lot. Do you want to come and drum for my band? And he was so positive and so supportive that he heard the demos and he was like, yeah, I want to be involved in this. This is awesome. And I went, wow, that just kind of opened up a whole new world to me. And I thought, just ask people and work hard. Him saying yes made me work twice as hard on arranging and on my own recordings and things like that, because I was like, I have to be able to live up to that standard that Nick has set off.
That's got to be very true of not just Nick, but having Eric singing and Mariana singing and Jim and all these Ross now. That's got to up your entire game, knowing that you're dealing with some major league talent here.
Yeah, 100%. And it really is inspiring to be like, we have to make this, the best that we can do because we have these amazing people. And they're going to make us look good. We want to try and make them look good too.
Awesome. Very, very good. Nathan, any final words to the peeps?
Just follow me on my channel, and I'm grateful for Versa and artists like that who reach out to me and are so kind and responding to my reviews as well and helps my channel. So it's really wonderful to be part of the community and to be able to spread such great music to people who may not have heard of it.
That's our job. That's what we do. That's why we get paid the big bucks, Nathan. But anyway, guys, this has been amazing. Like I said, this is why I'm, so happy that I have a YouTube channel that I can do whatever I want, have whoever I want on, talk about whatever I want, whether it's some, big band with some big name like Steven Wilson and Porcupine Tree next week, or, just geeking out with the man himself, Matt from Versa. We treat all comers the same. We put our pants on one leg at a time, Mr. Steven Wilson. Yeah, we do. And you know what else? It's all good because I love you guys, man. Peace in the Middle East. Free Tibet, free the Ukraine, free your mind, free Willie, and God save the king. Oh, yeah, save King Chucky, Nathan. Oh, King Chucky's not doing so good. Oh, Matt, you know something about King Chucky. He's your head of state, isn't he? Oh, he's on that mail, and he's got stamps, and he's got snakes. What? Oh, no, King Chucky's going to be dancing with snakes. Oh, no, put that on a postage stamp. Oh, he got me. Oh, but he's not going to kill me because I got the Lord on my side. I'll see you next week. Peace.